This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of Phatts TV, sanctioned by PA Phatts and the non-genetically proven son. Any and all words have been authorized during the show. There is nothing off limits. Nobody is restricted from watching and participating in the show. It is a free-for-all. Commencing at the siren, any and all discussions will be legal for an extended period of time. Sports, politics, and any and all controversial topics will be talked about. You have been warned. May God be with us all.
I'm not muted anymore.
Try again.
I have to I need a control person. So it's Tuesday night and it's a debate night, and I've been waiting for this night for quite some time. It's raining pretty hard out here.
It's been raining since about 10 a.m. this morning.
Up there.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be a nice wet one.
we got about 10 minutes or so before the debate starts. So, for those of you that follow either myself or the non-genetically proven son, last Saturday night, we had some fun.
We did?
We did.
What did we do?
We were up at an airport,
That doesn't sound like very fun.
listening to President Trump's rally.
That sounds like fun.
What'd you think about it?
I don't know if it was anything special, like more than just a rally, but that was a lot of people and a lot of noise.
There had to be at least 15,000, probably more than that, people.
Give or take, yeah.
Now, I watch most of his rallies on the internet, and the speech was fairly similar. Now, there was a little different because we had the Supreme Court nomination just a couple hours before the speech, Amy Coney Barrett. So, obviously that was added to his speech. But the one thing, and I said this on my write-up, that you couldn't, you can't get while you're watching it is all the energy that was there.
Right.
A complete, tremendous amount of energy. And it was pretty cool, watching the plane come in.
That was really cool.
Yeah. Made a lot of noise as it passed by pretty quickly.
The picture that I took, if you remember, is now the background of my computer.
Is it?
Yes. I think it's a really
I mean,
picture.
the only complaint that I have is we didn't get there early enough to get a seat.
No, who'd at 11:30?
About 11:45 we got there.
And speech didn't start till 7:45 to 8.
Yep. We had
early enough.
the doors were supposed to open at 4. They ended up opening at 3. And I tell you what, for those of you that have never been to a rally, there was 3 checkpoints. The first, you got your temperature taken. That was just to get in line. Then at the end of the line, there was another checkpoint to make sure you weren't bringing in anything that was prohibited.
Yes.
Then, right before you went into the hangar, that's when you met the Secret Service.
Yeah.
And, for the strip search, basically, that they seem to put you through.
I thought I had something. Because the guy was, searching me for, a minute.
Yes.
It was my belt.
Yes. It was interesting, you passed through the metal detectors first. And since he kept scanning you because, you kept tripping the metal detector because of your belt, I got to watch what they were going through. They went through everything. Like, they went through every part of your wallet.
Did they really?
Yes. Every part. Like where you put the cards. Like your wallet has like 6 different places for cards. They went through every one. They went through where the money was. They checked everything. Anything and everything that something could have been hidden, they checked.
I did not notice that.
Yes.
I was just thinking, as you said, did they like go through my wallet and like through everything that I gave them?
Yes. Yes. Now, I had to go through the metal detector twice as well because I hit it the first time. Because, PA Phatts.
Right.
But then after you got through the metal detector, then you walked into the hangar, and I'd say we missed sitting probably by about 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, probably.
So, if there was more seats, we would have been... And they probably could have added some more seats, at least not in the middle, but on the outsides.
Somewhere we were, they could have added probably another 15, 20 rows easily.
Yeah. So, yeah, I will say by the time he got there, my feet were hurting.
My back was hurting.
So, needless to say, and there was so many people around you couldn't move.
No, there wasn't. No move.
I mean, there had to be 40 rows of people behind us.
Yeah. Once he got there, my feet stopped hurting, and my back. Very intent in his speech.
Mine didn't.
Oh.
As you know, when it was over, I said, I got to sit down for 10 minutes before we leave.
Yes, we went the opposite way and sat down.
Yes.
And then tried to get out of the parking garage and decided just to park and wait.
Yes, it took us about 2 hours to get out of the parking lot. We got to the parking lot and we got in line, and we didn't move for about 20 minutes. So we reparked and took a walk, went into the hangar, went to the bathroom. And then we walked back to the parking garage, and then we kind of cheated to get out.
Right.
we cut some people, and
Debate starting.
the guy was letting me in, and then I had you even scoot in front of me to get out.
Yeah. You had me cut in front of you.
Yeah. And as I told you, just remember this when you have a kid.
I took the inside on you.
You did. You did. If worse come to worse, if that didn't work, I would have had you back up and move to the left. Because we had to go up and then turn left.
Right.
So I just would have had you go there, and then I would have let you in there.
Right.
So they're introducing the families.
Oh. I'm still waiting. Because I'm watching this on YouTube.
Yes.
I'm watching it on Donald J. Trump's YouTube, which has over 1 million subscribers, actually.
So obviously our message board is open. Hoping to get some feedback on the message board tonight. Tell me what you're seeing, if you're liking it, if you're not liking it. All right, Chris Wallace is taking the stage. Chris Wallace is, I would say he's kind of anti-Trump, even though he works for Fox News. That doesn't really mean anything. Chris Wallace is...
Sorry. I was pulling up our stream so I can see the message board. I got 4 or 5 screens in front of me right now. So. Did you put any shekels on the...
I did not.
No? Not the last person to say America? Or...
I did not.
There was a Joe Biden bingo that I found as well.
Yes, yes.
and I showed you the Joe Biden drinking game,
Yes.
you said you would get wasted.
Yep.
I like how on every bingo one there was one Joe Biden calls his wife by the wrong name or gender.
Yeah.
I'm just like, huh? He does that?
All right, so I'm going to duck out for a minute. I will be back in about 3 minutes. Hopefully it hasn't started by then, but I'll be back.
Have fun. Don't die. Let's go again.
You can see in the tight shots in these faces some anxiety, some anxiousness. We're getting ready for the biggest moment of this election so far, the first presidential debate.
It's a big night, and here we go.
How am I doing? I'm doing great. I did nothing all day. Yeah, did literally nothing all day. So doing wonderful.
Donald Trump's failure of leadership has cost lives and livelihoods.
Joe Biden is basically the Loch Ness monster of the swamp.
When I tell the American people I'm going to do something, I follow through.
Tonight, both candidates make their case to the American people as the country looks for strength and leadership. Who will move the country forward? Who will stand up? Who will rise and bring us together?
This is the most important election in the history of our country. Time for us, for we the people, to come together.
The candidates are on the clock. And America is matching.
I'm assuming he went to the potty for a break. I figured that's what 3 minutes meant. I don't know. Maybe he went to rub one out.
The biggest stage in the nation
I don't
is
know.
set for President Trump
I'm not
and
there.
former Vice President Biden to finally go toe-to-toe in the first presidential debate of 2020. Good evening, I'm Brad Baird.
And good
Here.
evening, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum. We're live
There's some
inside
sound
the debate
here.
hall on the campus of Case Western Reserve University and the Cleveland Clinic. And tonight is the night for one of the most highly
Come on.
anticipated presidential debates in history.
The candidates are at their marks backstage.
That reminds me.
Chris Wallace is about to get things underway. You can't say or overstate the importance of this moment. If you look at the race overall, the national polls, the average of recent polls, has this race with Joe Biden leading by about 6.5 points.
And it comes at a time that the nation is struggling with so many things that are dividing
Yeah,
us when
continue
you look
the
at
date.
coronavirus.
No, we're gonna have to find a different live
For
stream.
4 years is going to have an opportunity, hopefully, to see us out of that, to try to stimulate this economy again, the unemployment numbers, try to get things moving, and also to deal with huge issues like China on the foreign stage and the threat from China. So there's so much at stake, and these two men are about to have a chance to show the country how they would handle these really difficult challenges.
Obviously, hanging all over this is COVID-19. We have a different scenario here in the debate hall. Many fewer people here in the audience, from about 900 to about roughly 100. You see Chris Wallace getting ready there. He has selected debate topics. He will go for roughly 6 minutes on each one, 15 minutes for each one of those with back and forth.
So we'll see. Are they going to come out swinging? We have seen President Trump debate a lot. We've now You know, Biden debated several times in the primary process here, but this is the big contest. This is the big night where these two men share a stage for the first time ever in this role.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Wallace, our colleague and friend.
The 3 minutes are up. He's taking a long pee here. Who knows what's going on?
I'm Chris Wallace of Fox News, and I welcome you to the first of the 2020 presidential
I'm looking at some guy.
between President Donald J. Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. This debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. The commission has designed the format, 6 roughly 15-minute segments with 2 debates.
Okay.
Long 3 minutes.
I know.
I figured you were rubbing one out.
How'd you guess?
We're getting an explanation how the debate works. Or at least that's what I see.
No, it wasn't a pee break.
To remain silent. No cheers, no boos or other interruptions, so we, and more importantly you, can focus on what the candidates have to say. No noise except right now, as we welcome the Republican nominee, President Trump, and the Democratic nominee, Vice President Biden.
What are you clapping for?
Hey, that looks like the same tie you wore Saturday.
Oh, you're a little bit ahead of me. Wonderful. That does look like the same tie.
People have been waiting for this night, so let's get going. Our first subject.
Why did Biden say, "How are you, man"?
President Trump, you nominated Amy Coney Barrett.
How are you doing, man?
Succeed the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the court. You say the Constitution is clear about your obligation and the Senate's to consider a nominee to the court. Vice President Biden, you say the
So the first question's about the Supreme Court.
Republicans to jam through on an appointment and what you call an abuse of power. My first question to both of you tonight: why are you right and make the argument you make, and your opponent wrong? And where do you think a Justice Barrett will take the
Well, this is a great first question for Trump because he's the one that's right.
first 2 minutes?
Thank you very much, Chris. I will tell you very simply, we won the election. Elections have consequences. We have the Senate, we have the White House, and we have a phenomenal nominee, respected by all, top academic, good in every way, good in every way. In fact, some of her biggest endorsers are very liberal people from Notre Dame and other places. So I think she's going to be fantastic. We have plenty of time. Even if we did it after the election itself. I have a lot of time after the election, as you know. So I think that she will be outstanding. She's going to be as good as anybody that has served on that court. We really feel that. We have a professor at Notre Dame, highly respected by all, said she's the single greatest
I mean,
student he's ever had.
the Constitution is very clear on this.
Great school.
When there's an opening, the president nominates. It's up to the Senate to take it up or not to take it up.
Choose her, and very
4 years ago,
plainly would say otherwise.
president of one party, Senate of the other party, they chose not to take it up. This time,
There's no way
you have a president and the Senate of the same party, they've chosen to take it up. You got to tell me if the Democrats, if it was the opposite way, if there was if Hillary was president and the Senate was Democrats, you're going to tell me things would be different? Of course not. It'd be the same.
President Trump, thank you. Same question to you, Vice President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this and looking forward to this, Mr. President. The American people have a right to have a say in who the Supreme Court nominee is, and that say occurs when they vote for a United States senator,
Why? He's not a
and when
vice
they vote
president.
for the president of the United States.
Yeah, but he'll always be called vice
We're not gonna
president.
get that chance now because we're in the middle of an election already. The election has already started. Tens of thousands of people have already voted. And so the
American
thing
people
that
do
should
not have a
happen is we should
full
wait.
right.
We should wait and see what the outcome of this election is.
Funny, he didn't say that 4 years ago.
People get to express their
Right.
view is by who they elect as president and who they elect as vice president. Now, what's at stake here? The president's made it clear he wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. He's been working on that.
And he immediately changes it to health care.
He's in the Supreme Court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which will strip 20 million people from having insurance, health insurance now, if it goes into court, and the justice, and I have nothing. I'm not opposed to the justice. She seems like a very fine person, but she's written before she went to the bench, which is her right, that she thinks that the Affordable Care Act is not constitutional. The other thing is on
Because it really wasn't.
if it's struck down, what happens? Women's rights are fundamentally changed. Once again, a woman could be held more money because she has a pre-existing condition of pregnancy. They're able to charge a woman more for the same exact procedure a man gets. And that ended when we, in fact, passed the Affordable Care Act. And there's 100 million people who have pre-existing conditions, and they'll be taken away as well. Those pre-existing conditions, the insurance companies are going to love this. And so it's just not appropriate to do this before this election. If he wins the election and the Senate is Democrat or Republican, then he goes forward. If not, we should wait.
He's going off about a question, something else that wasn't even in the question.
As far as the say is concerned, the people already had their say. Okay, Justice Ginsburg said very powerfully, very strongly, at some point, 10 years ago or so, she said a president and the Senate is elected for a period of time, but a president's elected for 4 years. We're not elected for 3 years. I'm not elected for 3 years. So we have the Senate, we have a president.
He's elected to the next.
During that period of time, we have an opening. I'm not elected for 3 years. I'm elected for 4 years. And the 100 million people, Joe, the 100 million people is totally wrong. I don't know where you got that number. The bigger problem that you have is that you're going to extinguish 180 million people with their private health care, that they're very
He's elected to the next election. Last I checked, the next election
Yes.
is not in September.
Again, it's in the Constitution. He nominates. It's up to the Senate whether they take it up or don't take it up.
What I proposed is that
If Mitch McConnell doesn't want to take Amy Coney Barrett's nomination up, he doesn't have to. He's choosing to. This really isn't a Trump problem. This is a Senate problem.
we're saying that Biden wanted to allow people to have private insurance.
I don't remember Obama not nominating anybody 4 years ago. Remember Garland?
Party wants to go socialist medicine.
Party is
And
me.
socialist
Right now,
you know that.
I am the Democratic Party right now. The platform
Ooh, Joe's the Democratic Party.
I, in fact, approved of. What I approved of. Now, here's the
I'm the Democratic Party.
It's going to wipe out pre-existing conditions. And by the way,
The party is me.
You know who that reminds me of?
his watch.
Emperor Palpatine when he goes, I am the Senate.
7 million people have contracted COVID. What does it mean for them?
That's going up on Facebook.
Strike down the Affordable Care Act.
Joe, you
I am the Democratic Party.
military people dying because you couldn't provide them proper health care in the
He almost
military.
said 200 million.
Let's talk about
And if you were here, it would be 200. It would be 2 million people because you were very late in the draw. You didn't want me to ban China, which was heavily infected. You didn't want me to ban.
All right, gentlemen.
Joe
was heavily infected. You would have been
Biden.
Mr. President, Mr.
You're
President,
talking about 2 million people.
President, as a moderator, we are going to talk about COVID in the next segment, but go ahead.
Let me finish. The point is that
I
the president
am-
also is opposed to Roe v. Wade. That's on the ballot as well in the court. And so that's also at stake right now. And so the election is all
You don't know it's on the
done.
ballot. Why is it on the ballot?
Because
Why is it
you
on the ballot? It's not on the ballot.
it's on the ballot in the
I
court.
don't think so.
In the court. Well,
There's nothing happening there.
Donald, we
And
can
you don't know her.
Donald? That's President Trump.
I don't know.
Well, all right, but all right, let's talk. So, on health care, and then we'll come back to Roe v. Wade.
All right.
Mr. President, the Supreme Court will hear a case a week after the election in which the Trump administration, along with 18 state attorneys general, are seeking to overturn
That's right.
Obamacare, to end Obamacare. You have spent the last...
Because they want to give good health care.
If I may ask that question, sir.
Good health care.
Over the last 4 years, you have promised to repeal and replace Obamacare, but you have never in these 4 years come up with a plan, a comprehensive plan
Yes,
to
I have.
replace Obamacare.
Of course I have.
Well, I'll
I
give
got
you
rid of the individual
I'm going to
mandate.
give you an
Excuse me.
opportunity.
I got rid of the individual mandate, which was a
That
big
is not a
chunk of
comprehensive
That
plan.
is absolutely a big thing. That was the
I
worst part
didn't
of
ask you,
Obamacare.
sir.
Chris,
You're
that was the
debating him,
worst
not
part of
me.
Obamacare.
Let me ask my
Well,
question.
I'll ask Joe.
I
The
know.
individual mandate was the most unpopular aspect
Trump,
of Obamacare.
you really need to be quiet here and let Chris finish his question.
Later in this debate, and I would like you to let me ask my question, and then you can answer.
Go ahead.
You, in the course of these 4 years, have never come up with a comprehensive plan to replace Obamacare, and just this last Thursday, you signed
He
a
doesn't need to shut
largely
up.
symbolic executive order to protect people with pre-existing conditions 5 days before this debate. So my question, sir, is what is the Trump healthcare plan?
Well, first of all, I guess I'm debating you, not him, but that's okay. I'm not surprised. Let me just tell you something. That there's nothing symbolic. I'm cutting drug prices. I'm going with favored nations, which no president has the courage to do because you're going against big pharma. Drug prices will be coming down 80 or 90%. You could have done it during your 47-year period in government, but you didn't do it.
Not debating you. I'm not debating him. I'm debating you.
All of the things that we've done, insulin. I'll give you an example. Insulin. It's going to.
I am the Democratic Party.
Because I'm getting it for so cheap. It's like water. You want to know the truth? So cheap. Take a look at all of the drugs that what we're doing. Prescription drug prices. We're going to allow our governors now to go to other countries to buy drugs because they pay just a tiny
As I
fraction.
say, this is open discussion.
No,
Let me
this
ask
is
you,
big-
let me ask
this
you,
is
happy,
big stuff.
sir. You'll be happy. I'm about to pick up on one of your points to ask the vice president, which is he points out that you would like to add a public option to Obamacare, and
Yes.
the argument that he makes and other Republicans make is that that is going to end private insurance.
It is
and
not.
will. I thought I'd ask you the question, and it will
What
end.
your party says, by the way.
It will end private insurance and create a government takeover of health care.
It does not.
Which is what they want.
People who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid, they can get that free in most states, except governors who want to deny people who are poor Medicaid. Anyone who qualifies for Medicare would, Medicaid would automatically be enrolled in the public option. The vast majority of the American people would still not be in that option. Number one.
Joe, you
Number
agree
two.
with Bernie
Number-
Sanders,
I-
far left, on the manifesto here.
Yeah,
That manifesto, you socialize medicine.
Look, here,
Are you saying
I'm not
you
going to
don't
listen to him. The fact of the matter is, I beat Bernie Sanders.
Not by much.
I've beat him a whole hell of a lot. I'm here standing facing you.
Pocahontas would have, 2 days earlier, you would have lost every
All
primary.
he knows how to
On
do
Super
is
Tuesday, you got
Look,
very
here's
lucky.
the deal. I got very lucky, and we get very lucky tonight as well. And
Ooh, he's getting laid tonight.
because here's the deal. Here's the deal. The fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just
agree,
want to
you're
make sure.
the
Hot damn, Biden's getting laid tonight.
First in your class, first in your class.
I want to make sure.
President, can you let
He just said I'm lucky tonight. I'm getting lucky.
You know, you picked
Be surprised. Go
the
ahead.
wrong guy, the wrong night at the wrong time.
Listen, you agree with
Fact of the matter is I'm that bingo space.
There is no manifesto.
Please let him speak, Mr.
Number two.
You just lost the left.
Number two.
You just lost the left. You agreed with Bernie Sanders on a plan that's absolutely
Folks, do you have any idea what this plan's
socialized. They
doing?
call it
Mr.
socialized medicine.
Mr.
I'll
President,
tell you what. He is
There is no
for
manifesto.
Any help for people needing health care.
Oh, I already saw the drinking Biden thing. I pumped that.
Yeah, told you you'd be drunk.
People their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession. Number one. Number two, there are 20 million people getting health care through Obamacare now that he wants to take it away. He won't.
He is not for any help for people needing health care. Good English.
Much lower price.
Sorry, I'm behind you, but
He
I know, because you're watching it over a computer.
Yeah.
A single thing.
But probably don't.
Gentlemen, you realize if you're both speaking at the same time,
And it's too
let the president's... Go ahead, sir.
Obamacare is no good. We made it better, and I had a choice to make very early on. We took away the individual mandate. We guaranteed pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate.
Jesus, this is just gonna be people trying to talk over each other.
Yeah, that's what these all barrel down to.
Obamacare. Then I had a choice to make. Do I let my people run it really well or badly? If I run it badly, they'll probably blame him, but they'll blame me. But more importantly, I want to help people. Okay? I said, you got to run it so well. And I just had a meeting with them. They said the problem is no matter how well you run Obamacare, it's a disaster. It's too expensive. Premiums are too high. And it doesn't work. So we do want to get rid of it. Chris, we want to get rid of it.
I understand it, sir, but I have to give you roughly equal time. Please let the vice president talk.
He has no plan for health care. He sends out wishful thinking. He has executive orders that have no power. He hasn't lowered drug costs for anybody. He's been promising a health care plan since he got elected. He has none, like almost everything else he talks about. He does not have a plan. He doesn't have a plan. And the fact is, this man doesn't know what he's talking about.
All right, I have one final question for you,
Sure.
Mr. Vice President. If Senate Republicans, we were talking originally about the Supreme Court here, if Senate Republicans go ahead and confirm Justice Barrett, there has been talk about ending the filibuster or even packing the court, adding to the 9 justices there. You call this a distraction by the president, but in fact it wasn't brought up by the president. It was brought up by some of your Democratic colleagues in the Congress. So my question to you is, you have refused in the past to talk about it. Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the
This is an interesting question.
That'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel. Vote now. Make sure you, in fact,
Why aren't you answering, Joe?
your senators. I'm not going to answer the question because the question is,
You didn't answer that.
you shut up, man.
Oh, he just told him to shut up.
gentlemen, I think
You can't get.
we have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
He doesn't want to answer the question.
Trump's trying to throw Biden off his game. You can see it. He's trying to get him agitated.
7 years you've done nothing. They understand.
All right. The second subject is COVID-19, which is an awfully serious subject, so let's try to be serious about it.
Oh, we're going into
We've had
COVID
more than
now.
7 million cases of coronavirus in the United States, and more than 200,000 people have died. Even after we produce a vaccine, experts say that it could be months or
Is
even
it serious
years
though?
before we come back to anything approaching normal. My question for both of you is, based on what you have said and done so far, and what you have said you would do starting in 2021, why should the American people trust you more than your opponent to deal with this public health crisis going forward? In this case, the question goes to you first, sir. 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Good luck. 200,000 dead. As you said, over 7 million infected in the United States. We, in fact, have 5%, 4% of the world's population, 20% of the deaths. 40,000 people a day are contracting COVID. In addition to that,
Good luck.
between 750 and 1,000 people a day are dying. When he was presented with that number, he said it is what it is. Well, it is what it is because you are who you are. That's why it is. The president has no plan. He hasn't laid out anything. He knew all the way back in February how serious this crisis was. He knew it was.
I
a
hope
deadly
he goes on to
disease.
talk about
What did he
governors.
do? He's on tape as acknowledging.
Would be nice.
He said he didn't tell us or
Right,
get people
the
to
governors
worry
that are doing
because he
this.
didn't want to panic the American people. You don't panic. He panicked. In addition to that, what did he do? He went in and we were insisting that the Chinese, the people we had on the ground in China should be able to go to Wuhan and determine for themselves how dangerous this was. He did not even ask Xi to do that. He told us what a great job she was doing. He said we owe him a debt of gratitude for being so transparent with us. And what did he do then? He then did nothing. He waited and waited and waited. He still doesn't have a plan. I laid out back in March exactly what we should be doing. And I laid out again in July what we should be doing. We should be providing all the protective gear possible. We should be providing the money the House has passed in order to be able to go out and get people the help they need to keep their businesses open schools. It costs a lot of money. You should get out of your bunker and get out of the sand trap and get in your golf course and go in the Oval Office and bring together the Democrats and Republicans and fund what needs to be.
A little hard to bring together the Democrats when they won't even talk about this.
2 minutes, sir.
If we would have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000, and one person is too much. It's China's fault. It should have never happened. They stopped it from going in, but it was China's fault. And by the way, when you talk about numbers, you don't know how many people died in China. You don't know how many people died in Russia. You don't know how many people died in India. They don't exactly give you a straight count, just so you understand. But if you look at what we've done, I closed it, and you said he's xenophobic, he's a racist.
That's true.
Because you didn't think we should have closed our country. Wait a minute.
Just 2 minutes.
You didn't think we should have closed our country because you thought it was terrible. You
What? How many people died in all these places?
No, he said that it was xenophobic when he closed the airspace to Asia.
Many of you Democrat governors said President Trump did a phenomenal job. We worked with the governor. Oh, really? Go take a look. The governors said I did a phenomenal job. Most of them said that. In fact, people that
He's right, they did.
be necessarily on my side said that. President Trump did a phenomenal job. We did. We got the gowns. We got the masks. We made the ventilators. You wouldn't have made ventilators.
The governor said he did a good job?
Yeah. I could show you article after article where they said that.
Fewer people are dying when they get sick.
Democratic governors.
Fewer people are dying. We've done
Is
a great
200,000
job.
even,
The only
like-
thing I haven't done a good job, and that's because
I mean,
of
obviously
fake
it's
news.
bad, but is
No
it, like,
matter what
actually,
they do,
like-
they give you bad press, and
Well,
it's just
the
fake
one thing you
news.
don't know is,
Press.
of the 200,000 people that died, how many of them would have died
Let me just tell you something.
based upon the other things that they had?
I'll tell you, Joe, you could never have done the
Oh,
job
we-
that we
at
did.
least-
You
you'd
don't
think
have
at least
people
the
like you could
reporters.
have never done that job.
Yes.
I know how to do the job. I know how to get the job.
Well, you didn't do very well in swine flu. H1N1, you were a disaster. Your own chief of staff said you were a disaster.
14,000 people died, not 200,000. There was no
very-
economic
Let that,
recession.
sir. You made a
Far
point.
less
no
people
recession.
He made a point. Let him answer.
And there was no one, we didn't shut down the economy. This is
You didn't do very well
It's being
swine
shut
flu.
down. The reason it's shut down is because, look, you folks at home, how many of you get up this morning and had an empty chair at the kitchen table because someone died of COVID? How many of you were in a situation where you lost your mom or dad and you couldn't even speak to them? You had a nurse holding a phone up so you could, in fact, say
You
goodbye.
would have lost far
How
more
many
people.
people?
Far
That is-
more people.
And,
You would have been
and by the way,
enslaved.
his own CDC director says we could lose as many as another 200,000 people between now and the end of the year. And he held up, he said, if we just wear a mask, we can save half those numbers. Just the mask. And by the way, in terms of the whole notion of a vaccine, we're for a vaccine, but I don't trust him at all, nor do you. I know you don't. What we trust is a scientist.
You don't
We
trust
Dr.
Johnson &
Fauci.
Johnson, Pfizer?
I don't think it's President Trump that's coming up with the vaccine here.
To questions about the future, because you both have touched on two of the questions I'm going to ask. Focusing on the future first, President Trump, you have repeatedly either contradicted or been at odds with some of your government's own top scientists. The week before last, the head of the Centers for Disease Control, Dr. Redfield, said it would be summer before the vaccine would become generally available to the public. You said that he was confused and mistaken. Those were your two words. But Dr. Slawi, the head of your Operation Warp Speed, has said exactly the same thing. Are they both wrong?
Well, I've spoken to the companies and we can have it a lot sooner. It's a very political thing because people like this would rather make it political than save lives. It is a very political thing. I've spoken to Pfizer. I've spoken to all of the people that you have to speak to. We have great Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and others. They can go faster than that by a lot. become very political because the left, or I don't know if I
So
call it
you're
left, I don't
suggesting
know what
that
I
the
call it.
head of your Operation Warp Speed, Dr. Scott?
I disagree with him. Yeah. No, I disagree with both of them. And he didn't say that. He said it could be there, but it could also be much sooner. I had him in my office 2 days ago.
He talked about the summer, sir, before it's generally available.
Because
Just
he
like
said
that.
it's a possibility that we'll have the answer before November 1st. It
I
could
don't
also
know
be
what I
after
call
that.
him.
Well, we're going to deliver it right away. We have the military all set up logistically. They're all set up. We have our military that delivers soldiers, and they can do 200,000 a day. They're going to be
This is the same man.
It's all.
How many different companies are already in phase 3 trials of
By
this?
the warm weather, it'd be gone.
Oh.
Miraculous. So I come
At
back.
least 2.
And by the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the
I
same.
was said sarcastic.
That was
you know that. I was said
And
sarcastic.
so here's the deal. This man is talking about a vaccine. Every serious company is talking about maybe having a vaccine done by the end of the year. But the distribution of that vaccine will not occur until sometime beginning or the middle of next year to get it out. If we get the vaccine. And pray God we will. Pray God we will.
Mr. Vice President, I want to pick up
We'll have the vaccine soon.
I want to pick up on this question, though. You say the public can trust the scientists, but they can't trust President Trump. In fact, you said that again tonight. Your running mate, Senator Harris, goes further, saying the public health experts, quote, will be muzzled, will be suppressed. Given the fact that polls already show that people are concerned about the vaccine and are reluctant to take it, are you and your running mate, Senator Harris, contributing to that fear?
No more
To answer your question, Christine, it's because Chris Wallace does not like Trump. That's kind of on the record.
But you're saying you can't, Senator Harris is saying you can't trust the scientists.
Well, no, you can't trust the scientists. She didn't say that. You can't trust
She said the public health
Yes,
experts,
that.
quote, will be muzzled, will be
Yes,
suppressed.
well, yeah, that's what he's going to try to do, but there's millions of scientists, there's thousands of scientists out there, like here at this great hospital, that don't work for him. Their job doesn't depend on him. That's not, they're the people.
She didn't say that.
Scientists that are in charge, they will have the vaccine very soon.
But you believe for a moment what he's telling you in light of all the lies he's told you about the whole issue relating to COVID. He still hasn't even acknowledged that he knew this was happening, knew how dangerous it was going to be back in February, and he didn't even tell you. He's on record as saying it. He panicked or he just looked at the stock market. One of the two, because guess what? A lot of people died. And a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years you've done nothing.
Let's have this debate.
And if you would have had, let me just tell you something, Joe.
Okay.
If you would have had the charge of what I was put through, I had to close the greatest economy in the history of our country. And by the way, now it's being built again.
See,
And it's
We're going
going
to get
up
to the
fast.
economy in the next segment, sir.
Okay.
It's going up fast.
Okay.
Forward to it.
When it comes to how the virus has been handled so far, the two of you have taken very different approaches, and this is going to affect how the virus is handled going forward by whichever of you ends up becoming the next president. I want to quickly go through several of those. Reopenings. Vice President Biden, you have been much more reluctant than President Trump about reopening the economy and schools. Why, sir?
Because he doesn't have a plan. If I were running, I knew what the plan is. You've got to provide these businesses the ability to have the money to be able to reopen with the PPE
I like
as
the
well
way
as
he
with
worded
the
that. Whichever one of you
sanitation
becomes the
you
next
have to provide
president.
the
Mhm.
Pelosi.
Well, he just shush for a minute.
Tell it to Nancy Pelosi. And
And
Schumer,
Or
by the way,
whoever wins the
Nancy
election.
Pelosi and Schumer, they have a plan. He won't even meet with them. The Republicans won't meet with the Senate. He sits in his golf course and, well, I mean, literally, think about it.
You probably play
Think
more than
about
I do, Joe.
What about this question of reopenings and the
Well,
fact
he wants to shut down.
I don't think Joe Biden plays golf. No offense, Mr. President. Except miniature golf in his basement.
Wait a minute, Joe. Let me shut
Right.
you down for a second, Joe, just for 1 second. We want him. He wants to shut down the country. We just went through it. We had to because we didn't know anything about the disease. Now we found that elderly people with heart problems and
Actually,
diabetes and
I
different
hear that
problems
Trump plays a
are
lot of golf.
Very, very vulnerable. We learned a lot. Young children.
I don't know how true that is.
So did Obama.
Younger people aren't. We've learned a lot.
Bush
But he
spent
wants to shut it
just
down.
about every summer at his ranch.
Will be heard by continuing. If you look at Pennsylvania, if you look at certain states,
And the president is a person. They can do whatever they want when they have
one of the
time.
reasons they shut down is because they want to keep it shut down until after the election on November 3rd. Because it's a political. But those states are not doing well that are shut down right now.
President Trump, you have begun to increasingly question the effectiveness of masks as a disease preventer, and in fact, recently you have cited the issue of waiters touching their masks and touching plates. Are you questioning the
No, I think masks are
efficacy
okay.
of
You have to
masks?
understand, if you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. I put the mask on it, when I think I need it. Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test, and you've had social distancing and all of the things that you have to, but I wear masks when needed. When needed, I wear masks.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. I will say
Vice
this.
President Biden, go ahead, sir.
Look, the way to open businesses is give them the wherewithal to be able to open. We provided money.
But I was asking you, sir, about masks.
Well, masks make a big difference. His own head of the CDC said if we just wore masks between now, everybody wore masks and social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives. It matters.
And they've also said the opposite. They've also said,
No serious person said the opposite.
that
Jesus, he starts talking about something else.
Dr. Fauci said
Masks.
said very strongly, masks are not good. Then he changed his mind. He said masks good. I'm okay with masks.
I want to ask you both about one last subject, because your different approaches has even affected the way that you have campaigned. President Trump, you're holding the large rallies with crowds packed together, thousands of people.
What was that?
Smaller events with
My window's open.
Oh.
I live on
Nobody
Atherton.
shows up to his
Okay,
rally.
all right. In any case, why you holding the big rallies? Why you not? You goes first, sir.
Because people want to hear what I have to say. I mean,
But are you
you've
not
done a
worried
great
about his
job
running
as a
the race?
president, and I'll have 35,000 people show up at airports.
Because nobody will
Are you
show
not
up.
worried about
We have a
safety
lot of
issues?
people. Well, so far, we have had no problem whatsoever. It's outside. That's a big difference according to the experts. And we do them outside. We have tremendous crowds, as you see. I mean, and literally on 24 hours notice. And Joe does the circles and has 3 people someplace.
By the way, did you see one of the last big rallies he had? And a reporter came up to him to ask him a question. He said, no, stand back. Put on your mask. Put on a mask. Have you been tested? I'm way far away from those other people. And that's what he said. I'm going to be okay. He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people out there breathing one another.
We've had no negative
Cheek to
effect.
jowl. No negative effect.
We've had no negative effect. And we've had 40,000 people at these rallies.
Just
Yes.
quickly finish up, because I want to move on to our next.
Yes, I would. He's been totally irresponsible the way in which he has handled the social distancing and people wearing masks, basically encouraging them not to.
All right.
And he's a fool on this.
If you could get the crowds, you would have done the same thing. But you can't. Nobody cares.
Gentlemen, can we move on to the economy? Gentlemen, can we move on to the economy?
I like how he's like,
Economy,
the rallies,
it is, I
like,
think it's fair to say,
we all
recovering
go there
faster than expected
willingly.
from the shutdown.
Yeah.
Much faster.
In
Like-
I don't remember being told you can't wear a mask when we were there Saturday.
The Federal Reserve says the hit to
Not to say if you wanted to, you certainly could.
There was people there that did.
they had expected. President Trump, you say we are in
We
good
know,
shape.
we go there knowing we can contract COVID.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, if you remember, they were there when we walked in. We got our temperature checked. They were giving out masks if you wanted one and hand sanitizer, and I happen to have
A bottle of hand
the hand sanitizer that I took right here. I got this at the rally Saturday night.
To do. He didn't think we should close it down, and he was wrong. And again,
That's how it should be. It should be your choice.
still 204,000 people is too much. One person is too much. Should have never happened from China. But what happened?
Oh,
is
you're supposed to
we
say
closed
China
it down,
virus.
and now
That's a
we're
shot.
and we're doing great business. We had 10.4
Because at the
million
rally, you
people
said
in
China
4
virus
months
like 3
get
times.
back into the workforce. That's a record the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. And he wants to close down he will shut it down again. He will destroy this country. You know, a lot of people between drugs and alcohol and depression. When you start shutting it down, you take a look at what's happening at some of your Democrat-run states where they have these tough shutdowns. And I'm telling you, it's because they don't want to open it. One of them came out last week. You saw that. Oh, we're going to open up on November 9th. Why November 9th? Because it's after the election. They think they're hurting us by keeping them closed. They're hurting people. People know what to do. They can social distance. They can wash their hands. They can wear masks. They can do whatever they want. But they got to open these states up. When you look at...
He should bring up the survival rates.
These governors are under siege. Pennsylvania, Michigan, and a couple of others. You got to open these states up. It's not fair. You're talking about almost it's like being in prison. And you look at what's going on with divorce, look at what's going on with alcoholism and drugs. It's a very, very sad thing. And he'll close down the whole country. This guy will close down the whole country and destroy our country. Our country is coming back incredibly well, setting records as it does it. We don't need somebody to come in and say, let's shut it down.
All right. Your 2 minutes, sir. We're now moved to you. As I said, posing the question, the president says it's a V-shaped recovery. You say it's a K-shaped recovery. What's the difference?
The difference is...
What the hell is a K-shaped?
Billionaires like him, in the middle of the COVID crisis, have done very well. Billionaires have made another $300 billion because of his profligate tax proposal. And
What is a K-shape?
You know what, Joe? I'm just going to say this right now. If I was smarter and thought about things, how you just said the rich got richer, I, who am not rich, could have made almost $500,000.
Right.
Me and the non-genetically proven son just talked about this. I could have made $500,000 by cashing out my 401k without taking there would have been no hit on the penalty. And I could have maxed out my home equity loan and put it all on Penn stock when it was $4 a share. It got up last week to 70 some odd dollars a share. I'd have made all but $500,000.
And the idea that he is insisting that we go forward and open when you have almost half the states...
I'm surprised he's been coherent now for 40 minutes.
Well, he's so hopped up on drugs. Just like Hillary was 4 years ago.
You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis. And he has no intention of doing anything about making it better for you all
What?
at home in terms of your health and your safety. Schools. Why aren't schools open? Because it costs a lot of money to open them safely.
Why aren't schools open? I